guys, so I'm just about to go outside and take a little walk around the garden, and I thought that I would bring you along and show you what is growing. So I guess we'll start on the porch. I just have some random herbs. We harvested some of the dill here the other night, and have some cinnamon basil growing, which it really smells good. It almost has like a fennel type of scent. I want to say almost like anise. So not truly cinnamon, but I don't know what you would use this for, honestly. I'm like eating it. It's not like an overpowering spice, but it's different. Next to that, I believe it's cilantro. This area is pretty shaded, so in here there's some micro cilantro, and then I just randomly stuck a tomato in here, but it hasn't fruited or flowered or anything, but it's got nice dark green leaves. This part is, oh, actually it does have some buds on it, so I don't know. And then this one, I don't know, this one's self-seeded. So I might just go ahead and pop that in the garden. And there was supposed to be lime basil in this one, but it did not germinate, so I don't know. And then this here is bronze fennel, which is perennial, and it smells really good. I'm actually probably going to take this out of this little pot here and just go stick it in the garden somewhere and let it just do its thing. I have this teeny tiny little planter here. It's a self-watering planter that I found on the curb. Somebody was storing it away, and I had lettuce in there, but this is the only one that's left. And then these, I believe, are just green onions. I'm not sure what that is. That looks like kale. So we've got a purple cabbage here, just for some decoration, really. I've got a celery here. I've got some more chervil, I think that's how you say it, that I'm letting go to seed so I can collect. Some snapdragons, and then here's another chervil that went to seed, and I'm going to collect those. Another purple cabbage. There's some hollyhocks that I just stuck in here, and then I'll plant them out in the fall somewhere. And then more celery. So then coming down the stairs, this is kind of like, I guess it's a little bit of a kitchen garden, but at the same time, it's mainly I planted greens here that are easily accessible to feed either the chickens or the goats. The goats really enjoy the outer cabbage leaves and celery, and there's kale there. But I have a lot of celery growing here. There's some oregano and chives and rosemary. What else do we got? Oh, the artichokes. So these were like an experiment. I wasn't sure if artichokes would grow up here. I have tried for years to grow artichokes. What? What do you want? Coming over to get a kale snack? Yeah. So that's basically what this garden is for. It's mainly animal feed. And so I tried in Florida for many, many years to grow artichokes, and it was just too humid and they would die. So I am super pleased. I can see 3. I mean, yes, they're little, but that's okay. I know that it can be done. So next year I will definitely plant them in a better area, and I'll plant a lot more of them. And hopefully we'll get a nice little crop of artichokes. You have a lot to say, ma'am. What's happening? What's happening? Hmm? This is Cheddar. That cute little fluffy butt. Chasing bugs. So we've got some more red cabbage here, and they're starting to form their heads. So we're just gonna let them go. And then this is the red Russian kale, and you can see we've been harvesting it. The goats really enjoy kale, so I've been giving a lot to them. And over here we've got some shallots, which some of them are looking okay, but I don't know. I'm not super thrilled with, this is the second year now that I have bought sets, what do you call them, starters or something like that, where you pick them in the ground, and I don't know. I think I'm gonna just try my hand at growing them from seed this coming up year, because they're already flopping over and they're really small, and they've been in the ground for a long time. I mean, they smell great. What I'm gonna end up doing, probably because they're so small, I'm not gonna cure them. I'm just gonna go ahead and dehydrate them, the green part and all, and just make powder out of these. So this little section, somebody gifted me these things for free, and I was like, oh, they would make a really nice trellis. So I don't think that I'm gonna leave this here. This was just something I wanted to try out, but honestly, it doesn't get enough sun in our immediate backyard, like right off of the mudroom door. It's pretty shaded throughout the day, and while these things are doing okay, I think that they would definitely do better if they had more sun. So in here, I don't remember what I threw in here, but I think it's Tulsi basil and something else, maybe calendula, something like that. And I just kind of put it in there to let it do its thing and see. And then all around the back side of both of these, I've got cherry tomatoes, just random ones. Right here is borage. And then I threw in some carrot seeds, very like haphazardly. I did not space them out or anything. I just wanted to see if they would grow. And they were older seeds, so I just threw them down. I do have cucumbers growing here, and I don't know if you can see this, but originally I had tried these like peat containers that break down, and everything that I planted in these did not make it. So I ended up popping seeds in, and those finally germinated, and now they're doing well and taking off. So there's cucumbers here. And on this one, I have some pole beans that are already starting to put on some beans. I actually picked one earlier just to try it out, and it's pretty good. I've never grown this variety before. I think it's called like Seville or something like that. It's from Johnny Seeds. So but yeah, they're starting to put on beans, and they're wrapping around and doing what they're supposed to and climbing up. So we'll see how those do. We have just random cherry tomatoes here. These ones are a blue variety, I believe. I don't remember. But yeah, there's like a mixture here. They need to be clipped up again. And then over here, I know that I definitely have some, what's it called? I believe it's called like Berry's Crazy Cherry or something like that, just because of the clump. When you see like this wild clump of a bunch of cherry tomatoes, that's definitely that variety. And you can just see they're kind of all over the place. So I have them clipped up, but I'm also gonna let them just kind of sprawl and do their things. As long as they look healthy and happy and not getting really diseased, then I'll just leave them alone. So, Chatter, 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 leave my roses alone, okay? Leave the roses alone. That's a good girl. So this is kind of a work in progress back here. I got some pasture seed that was specifically for the Northeast, and I threw that down in this area. This area was all dirt a little while ago, and it basically looked like this right here. And it filled in really nice. So next year's goal is definitely to till up and try to add more of this very lush, beautiful pasture grass for my girls, because you can see they're reaching through the fence and they're loving it. So a lot of legumes, a lot of clover, different kinds of clover. I don't remember like the entire mix, but it looks great, nice and green, lots of forage. So definitely going to be working on that, because the pasture grass that we have out here, while there is clover and some other things, a lot of it is Kentucky bluegrass, and they're not a fan. So I really would like to make sure that they have a good selection of forage, other than, you know, their typical tree branches we throw to them and all kinds of stuff. So this is beautiful, and I'm really happy with this. So as we walk more and more towards the middle of the property, this is where we've kind of started our potager, and we're just kind of adding to it as we can. I think we're pretty much done for this year, but the goal is to extend it that way and a little bit over to that way. So this whole middle area, which gets quite a bit of sun in the afternoon, is garden space. And all around the outside of the pasture is going to be really for grazing and moving animals around and so forth. So for now, I picked up one of these. I believe they're really snow fences, but this was just an easy way to kind of outline where everything was going to go. And this bed is kind of a mess. This was the very first one that we put in. We have this bed basically flanked with two Asian pear trees, which are like apple pears. Yeah, we really like those. These ones came from Stark Brothers. I do think that I'm gonna have to move this one because it's right next to a massive sugar maple, and this little pocket right here gets pretty shaded quickly. So I think actually what I'm gonna do is create a very long berm starting from, I don't know if you can see where that pile of dirt is. Oh goodness. Chicken drama. We're gonna create like a long berm basically, and we're gonna move some of the fruit trees that are not doing fantastic, but we'll do that in fall when they go dormant. So underneath each fruit tree I have a comfrey planted. We've got leeks here, lots of weeds because I mulch with grass primarily. So we've got some leeks here, and those are getting close to being ready. There's some strawberries here, which I'm hoping will eventually take over and be a good ground cover. But for some reason we have like this, it's almost like a ground ivy. I really don't know what it is. I probably should find out. But that seems to kind of take over this area. But hopefully the strawberries will do that for us when they begin to grow. We have some pretty snapdragons. There's some clover that's popped up, which I'm just letting go to flower. More leeks. There's some really nice leeks here. Definitely can I'll definitely be canning up some potatoes and leeks for a potato leek soup starter. So I've got just kind of strawberry plants kind of dotted all through here. And then here's another celery. And then more snapdragons. I don't remember what this is. Maybe marshmallow? More comfrey that is going to flower. The pollinators really love it. And then here's the other Asian pear. So then as you come on this way, it's kind of like a hodgepodge mess. So these things that I planted, and these have been planted for a long time. I've never grown them before. They like the cold. They also are supposedly really good chop and drop. So that's a big reason why I bought them. They are fava beans. And I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to plant these again. I might save the seeds on some of the ones that have the beans on them, but they're kind of a mess. I noticed that early in spring, they were covered in aphids, which makes sense because aphids tend to really like high nitrogen things. So you can see here, there's some beans. I'm just overall not super impressed. I planted them for a few reasons. I planted them because I know that my goats will like them as treats. They're supposed to be good chop and drop, like a fertilizer, adding green manure back into your soil. But I don't know if they're worth it. I don't think I planted them correctly either. I think that they would have done better if they were kind of planted in a clump just all to themselves instead of spreading them out. So we'll see. This is a cabbage here that has struggled. I'm not sure it's getting enough sunlight. We have also some potatoes in here that, oh yeah, I think these guys can definitely be harvested. They're pretty big. These are the blue Adirondack potatoes. I'll just cover those back up for now. Maybe do a little bit of harvesting. But I mean, they're still growing. They're not, you can see they're not dead. So I don't know. Maybe we'll just leave them and let them make more potatoes. So yeah, this bed, it's kind of a mess. It had some onions in it. It had, my daughter, I think, put in a squash plant at some point that I don't remember planting. Potatoes, onions. So yeah, I'm just gonna let everything kind of do its thing, and maybe let these fava beans dry and harvest the seeds to try again next year. This really just kind of was an experimental bed, but this bed definitely gets more shade than the rest of the garden. So I got to take that into consideration for next year. So we'll see. You win some, you lose some, right? Here we've got a climbing rose that is starting to bud out. This is just a white climbing rose. So that's exciting. Also, I planted some eggplant, but you can see something is definitely going after it. So I did come out here one night and spray some insecticidal soap on it, but I think it's flea beetles. I'm not entirely sure. So we do have some onions that are here that are starting to bulb up, and letting those go and do their thing. Potatoes. This was the experimental potato bed. This is where we put the seed potatoes directly on the straw and then covered up with more straw in the hopes that it would break down. So they are producing, but they're definitely smaller than, well, the plants at least are smaller. So I don't know. I mean, you can see underneath, it definitely has broken down and stuff, but I don't know how we're gonna do on the potatoes with this batch. So again, this was an experiment. Wanted to see what would happen. So over here we've got grapes. These are green grapes. We also have another grape plant planted there, and that one is a red table grape. And like I said, there's a white climbing rose here. So I'm hoping in a few years this whole arbor that we got for free will be taken over by the grapes and the roses and stuff. So this is one of those fabric tents. Somebody had never used it and they were just giving it away for free, and we scooped it up, and I think it's going to make a really nice grape and rose arbor. So coming down the line here, we've got asparagus, 3 rows planted right there. I did plant it really late. I'm not sure if it's even going to come up, but we'll just wait and see. And if not, then next spring, I know that my local hardware store has starts. So it's kind of a bummer because these ones I did order, and I let them sit, and I just think I got them in the ground too late. So lesson learned. I'm probably better off just buying from local regional stores, because those honestly seem to be doing much better than the things that I ordered online. Over here, this is more potatoes. These ones are definitely doing really well. They're all flowering. They're getting a lot of sun. So we should have a nice little crop out of these. In the back of those, we have just one zucchini. There's some dill. I did scatter some more seeds underneath the zucchini the other night. So I'm not sure if those are going to come up. I also have some tarragon right here. This is yellow summer squash. And then here we seeded fennel. I believe those are turnips and rutabaga, and then more fennel. So we're waiting for those to come up. We direct seeded those with, and we spread them out. So I'm hoping, but they're older seeds. So I'm not sure entirely if they're going to come up, but hopefully they do. We really like fennel. It's kind of like a licorice flavor if you eat it raw, which we don't really like, but we love using it in tomato sauce, like for pasta and stuff. It's really, really good if you add sausage with it, or like sausage and peppers and add in some fennel. It just really adds like a nice flavor. So we're really hoping for a good crop out of all the fennel that we put in. Here, these were just leftover plants. So I've got eggplant there. There's some bell peppers here that somebody actually gave me, which they look like they need some nitrogen. They're a little yellow. And all of these are bush beans. Got some dragon tongue here, and I forget the other variety. Maybe contender. Not entirely sure. Then in this open space right here, the other night I came out and I put some carrots in, doing kind of an experiment with that to see how that does. A random watermelon popped up. And then these are also either some kind of a watermelon or winter squash. I'm not really sure. And then just some, this was beautiful when it was bloomed. It was like all covered in purple blooms. That's a butterfly bush. And then I forget what that is, but just trying to add in some perennial plants that the pollinators will like. Over here, I popped in some patty pans that I just popped some seeds in, and those are gonna start producing soon. And in the rest of these rows, it is tomatoes and peppers, all different kinds of varieties. Over here is mostly cherries that I am just kind of letting sprawl everywhere, and they're doing well. Also have a bunch here. I am going to probably come in with a stake or something and prop them up because they'll like it better, but for now I'm just kind of letting them do their thing. All kinds of peppers. Have all kinds of peppers coming on, sweet and some spicy a little bit. We don't like a ton of heat, so nothing majorly spicy. We're definitely getting a lot of blossoms with our tomatoes. There's definitely a lot of tomatoes that are starting. I think down here I have some zinnias that are popping up. Show you on this side. So yeah, you can see there's just quite a bit of tomatoes starting to form. Some basil. But yeah, I mean, every time I'm out here, I feel like I see either more blossoms or more tomatoes. So I'm hoping that we get a decent crop. The only problem is, if you saw my last video, my boy Harley, my chocolate Labrador, loves tomatoes. And the minute he sees one, he plucks it off the bush. So he's probably eaten about 5. That's why he's not out here with me right now, because he's he needs to tone it down a bunch. We want to get some too. So, but yeah, I've got some, I think it's more zinnias right here. Just some flowers. Like I just kind of came in with seeds and just kind of tossed them. So these here, you can also see right here. So I think my biggest lesson for this year is just go ahead and start things from seeds. So when I lived in Florida, I would have to start things. We had like a pool, like a screened-in pool porch. And I would have to start things in cups and transplant because the pest pressure was so bad that the minute a seed would sprout, the minute a seed would sprout, it would get eaten up by whatever pest. It was really, really hard to just put a seed in the ground when we lived in Florida. So I just out of habit used these, what do you call them? Peat pots or something. And I did that with my cucumbers, zucchini plants, anything like that. Story short, they died. Everything that I put in these pots died, did not make it. And what I'm finding here is that the pest pressure is not nearly as bad, and that I can go ahead and stick seeds in the ground and they'll be fine. So this here is tromboncino squash, which I just stuck in the ground probably about a week ago, and you can see it's already taking off. This is by far our favorite squash. It freezes really well. It does not get mushy. And it's got just a really nice flavor as far as like summer squashes go. And then if you let it fully ripen and cure, it actually becomes like a butternut squash. So I'm just waiting until they start attaching to this, and then I'm gonna thin it out because that's way too many. And I'm hoping that I can maybe just like transplant somewhere else and it'll do okay. But we'll see. I was really hoping that those would take off earlier because we've been missing them. So hopefully we'll get a good crop of those. But yeah, so this is just kind of a little bit of a mess. I need to come back up here and tie things so they're not everywhere. But this is a pepper plant that's doing really well, which I believe my dog took the peppers that were on there. We've got some blueberries scattered at the end of these rows. And these here, we've got some Romas. Roma's coming on. Lots of Romas, hoping for lots of sauce tomatoes. And then we also have some nice, I believe these ones are kind of like a brandy wine or Dr. Witchy, I want to say. I don't know. There's a lot of them now. Doing good. Just need to keep Harley out of the garden. You can see here we got some peppers. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of flowers. Definitely a lot of fruit that is beginning to form. I'm not really worried about pruning them, as you can see. Florida definitely had to prune. This year, I'm only pruning to keep things out of the walkway. And if I feel like they are obnoxiously growing, you know, like over the peppers, like I'm gonna have to get in here and open this up like what I did over here, because there's pepper plants in there and they're definitely not getting enough sunlight. But I see lots of tomatoes, so it's one of those things where I'm gonna wait till those tomatoes probably get a little bit bigger, come in, prune it off, let them ripen inside. So, but you can see, like, I came in and I majorly thinned out these tomatoes here so that little pepper could breathe, and same with that one right there. But yeah, everything's doing well. I'm not gonna plant it like this again this year. Originally my goal, or originally the plan was I was going to make arches all the way. So each walkway was just gonna have like a tunnel, right? I was gonna make like tomato tunnels. Well, we kind of waited too long, and the tomatoes were just getting to the point where they needed to be put up, and we didn't want to be running to the store and getting like a bunch of cattle panels because they've been kind of low in stock. And so we just used the ones that we already had and just put rows. But if we had done my original plan of the arches, the peppers were planted already in the middle here, and as the tomatoes grew, they were going to grow like this, so it was going to allow light in the middle, and that was the reason I planted them like this. So, but I don't know, so we'll see. I mean, it's too late now to transplant them. I don't want them to go through any kind of heat shock, so we'll just see what we get. There are some peppers that are, you know, really exposed to the sun, like these ones here, and they're not doing all that much better, so might just be not a good pepper year. This variety here, I don't know how I feel about them. So they look really puny and flimsy, and I mean, lots of flowers. My dog has definitely been picking them. These were new for me this year. These, I believe, are the Burratinos or something like that. They're a yellow paste tomato. And I just don't like the way that the plants look. I mean, compared to this, you know, they look terrible. But there's nothing wrong with them. It's just the way they look. So I don't know. We'll see how we do with these. I might try them again. I don't know. I'm not loving the way they look. They look sick. They look stressed out. But there's nothing different from this side to this side. It is just the plant. So, really weird. So I have yet to try one of these because, like I said, my dog comes in here and he sees them and he picks them. So hopefully we'll get some, and then I can try it and see if it's worth planting again. But that's just kind of what you have to do, especially when, you know, you move to a new area. You need to find what is going to thrive in your area and doesn't need a whole lot of work to grow. You know, that's kind of my whole thing. So, and that's why, big reason why we also moved north, because it's very hard to grow things in the south in summer. And you know, people don't realize that, but it is. It's very difficult to grow things in the heat of summer, unless they are tropical natives made for that type of humidity and everything. So I'm actually growing a much bigger variety up here than I ever was able to in Florida, and that's exciting to me. So, and then one other little area that we have here is some more onions. We've got red onions planted here, and more comfrey. These are apple trees. And then there's a little bit of carrots growing that I threw seeds down in, and more potatoes. And then another apple tree. And then here we are starting to work on our compost area for next year that we're going to be doing all fall and winter. So, and you're getting to see the beautiful lightning bugs. They're just so magical. I love them. But yeah, so a lot of work has been done, but we have a lot of work still to go, and we're just enjoying it, you know? This is what we've been dreaming about forever. And here comes my tomato thief. Are you ready? Were you looking for me? All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this little tour, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.